What's up, Flesh and Blood family? It is Preston and Tony, the King's Table. We wanted to take some time and do a little video for Dusk Till Dawn. We are so close. What pre-release is next week?
Weekend.
Next weekend, we've got the spoiler weekend coming up this weekend. I think one of the first ones drops. Should be
Thursday night?
yeah, Thursday night or tonight. I think when this video goes live.
Yeah, because
Yeah, so we're really excited, and we wanted to do a fun little video. This is, we are not flesh and blood scientists. This is just an opportunity to take a look at some lore articles, take a look at some cards, and we're going to go through some of our favorite cards that have been revealed so far. We're going to take a look at some predictions that we have for what's going to be in the set, and then we're going to wrap it up with just some wish list items to say what do we hope comes out of this set, or what do we hope at least inspires future things. So let's go ahead and let's get started. We'll take a look at our three favorite cards that have been revealed so far. I want to bring attention to... so the Banneret cards are super cool, and I think that means a lot of really neat things for Bolton and potentially maybe a light Dorinthea, but we'll get into that in a moment. But specifically, there is... Oh, there's the rest of the bannerets. I was like, there's 6 bannerets. And also, big shout out to February. They always have a tab for new sets that are coming where you can see the cards that have been spoiled so far. So if you're looking for all the newest information on upcoming sets, February is the best place to find them. So I want to take a look at Banneret of Resilience. And you're probably asking, why is this my favorite of them all? Well, I think what's really interesting here is that with the Soul Flare ability on this Banneret, when this card is charged, the next action card you defend with this turn gets +1 defense. So I'm hoping that this means that there's going to be a more efficient way to charge your soul. I think this is, like I said, specifically important in Bolton. I think sometimes Bolton suffers from, a card disadvantage and how card intensive he can be to operate well. And so the fact that this is providing an option or even mentioning charging when you would also need to defend, I think this points to some more efficient ways to charge your soul coming up. And so that's why I'm really excited about this one. I think maybe not necessarily this card itself, but what this card means for some heroes that I enjoy playing and, for the light warrior class and kind of seeing what happens with that. I also...
that one's going to be huge for Bolton and potentially light Dorinthea, because that's been the biggest downside is the card disadvantage of giving up a card and giving up a card.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I think that's true with all the bannerets. I think the bannerets offer some really fun, bonuses for, charging, which is something you're going to do anyway in a hero like Bolton. And I think it's cool to see some other benefits from charging your soul beyond, just playing the cards that you want to play anyway in that deck. So I think that's really cool. My next favorite that I'm really excited about, Chorus of Ironsong. This card I really enjoy because it's gonna buff the Dawn Blade. It's gonna make the damage unpreventable. There's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of cards out there right now that offer a lot of prevention effects. So for that reason, I think that this card is a lot of fun, and I'm really excited for what it'll do for Dorinthea. But again, kind of like the last card, I think that this is just the start to, pointing to better things on the horizon for Dorinthea. And, Dorinthea and Bolton aren't bad heroes at all. They've just been around long enough and have some particular struggles that I think with a little bit of support, you could see them be, powerhouses really soon. So I like this card for what it is. I like this card for what it provides. But again, like the Banneret, I really like for, what it could mean for Dorinthea getting additional support. And then changing it up a little bit. I know those were, warrior cards. But I'm also really excited. I've played Dromai for quite some time, and I really like this Lost in Thought card. And the reason that I like it, so it's an action with Go Again, it only costs 1, and it is a red, so typically I run a more aggressive Dromai that's just loaded with reds, so this is going to fit right in those play patterns, right in that deck that I operate quite a bit. But you get to look at the target hero's hand, choose an attack action card, and then if you do, they'll put that at the bottom of the deck, and they create a Ponder. So sure, they get a Ponder token, But it gives you the opportunity to get rid of cards out of hand that could pop one of your dragons or something like that. And I think what's really nice about this card is that depending on the hero you're playing it against, I think it offers a lot, no matter what kind of hero that you're playing against. What I mean by that is that, say you're, playing against a Rhinar or something, then there's probably going to be lots of things that you can get rid of out of their hand. And so they might still have poppers left over, but you can still take away their biggest threats. Whereas playing against something like an Azalea, right? They're probably the only the only poppers they're going to sideboard in are something like a battering bolt. And if you get rid of that, then they're out of options. They don't have any other poppers in there. At least most Azalea decks aren't going to. Maybe an Enlightened Strike, but no. Enlightened Strike's 5. Yeah, never mind.
CNC maybe, but most people don't run CNC.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that no matter what, Lost in Thought offers some flexibility to, even if you're leaving poppers left over, it still gives an opportunity to take away some big threats. And I think that Lost in Thought is definitely going to see some play. And I really like the card. I've seen on Twitter some kind of mixed opinions about it, but I really like the card. I'm excited to see what sort of shenanigans we can pull off with it. So, Tony, what do you got? What 3 favorite cards are you looking forward to?
All right, so yeah, I also have 3 cards that I wanted to take a look at. The first one was just revealed. It is this Diabolic Offering. This one, I think, what I love about it is that it's introducing sort of a new style of card and value. A card with 6 or more has been put into your banish zone. Its attack and defense are 6, otherwise it's 0. So we see similar things to this in like Gore Belching, where it's very dependent on other things going on. I think that this gives an opportunity where, because this is blue, you could maybe pitch this until later on in the game and be able to play this second cycle where you know for sure it's going to come in for 6. I think that that's a really cool thing where it's forcing you to think about the way you're building your deck. Just new and different, and I love that. A 6 that is a blue is always going to be huge. And then the fact that it only costs 1. This is super efficient. I think Levelia, whatever we're going to call her. I'm not versed in the deck, obviously, but I think that it'll be great to see some really good support coming for a hero that has not really seen any consistently strong support up to this point. So that one I'm really stoked for.
Yeah, and Tony, I saw something that's interesting that I'll be excited to see what the official judge clarification is on this card. But someone was pointing out on Twitter that this card might actually work with Gore Belching. It's funny you mentioned Gore Belching, because Gore Belching is looking for an attack card with 0. Yeah. And this does say that, if that condition's not met, then it is 0. Now, how good is that combo really in a deck? Probably not very good.
Especially in a deck that's so dependent on having 6. It's certainly a risk, right?
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to work out very well.
It might be legal, but I don't know that anyone's going to be playing it. Exactly. That's for sure.
I thought it was an interesting interaction. I love weird card interactions like that.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone loves a good jank deck. Also, the art in this is just absolutely brutal, and I feel like that's everything that you want in Brute to begin with. But then on top of that, Shadow Brute is just extra gross and crazy. So as soon as Preston shared this one with me the other day, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is so sick, this is so crazy, I love it. So that one I'm really excited for. The next one that I'm not going to say that I'm excited for so much as I think everyone needs to be aware of, and hopefully we can work to get it banished immediately. Angelic Wrath, I think, is just 0 for 4 at instant speed. All you have to do is have a Herald. This is so good. The art is spectacular as well. I love this card. I'm stoked for it to be a promo. This is the one for this promo, right? Is it Angelic Wrath? No, it's the Herald. It's the Herald that's the promo for this month for the armories.
No, I think the Herald is the skirmish. I think Angelic Wrath
Is
the
it?
armory
Sick.
promo. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm stoked for this card. Honestly, I don't play Prism, but I might start because this is some shenanigans. This is the sort of thing that like people know that you have it, and they're gonna be angry when they see it anyways. And that's always kind of fun to be just a little teensy weensy bit degenerate. So that I think is gonna be a fun one. And then to kind of jump on the warrior bandwagon here, the Banneret of Vigor is I think going to be really cool. So like Preston had mentioned, the soul flare on these ones is really cool. When it's charged to your hero's soul, you gain a resource. And I think that's huge in being able to find ways to combo off of that and access additional resources. And for Bolton specifically, being able to have the resources for your additional attack reactions, for your additional attacks, all of that. I think this is going to be a really solid card, and I hope that this sees a bunch of play because it's going to be really cool. So those are my big three that I think I'm looking forward to that have been released or shown so far. So we'll see how much more excited I get once they start showing some ninja stuff.
Yeah, I did notice too. It is interesting. I didn't catch this until just reading it, but on the Banner of Vigor, it's the next time you hit this turn, you gain that resource. So that's interesting. I wonder if that's going to prove to like still actually be useful.
I think with because this is when it's charged, so you don't have to use it as the attack, right? So you charge it early on with. I can't even think of a card that you'd start off with because I don't play Bolton, but you start off in charge. You hit with your axe or whatever weapon, and then you've got another resource. If you're playing like Centauri Saber Bolton or something like that, that's your second one free right there, which I think is super cool.
Yeah. I mean, even if you because there could be a couple of things, and I was even thinking about like the card Bolting Blade.
Yeah.
That like gives you the discount. So even if you were able to charge once, and one of the cards that you charged was the Banneret of Vigor, and like you had something with Go Again that was able to hit, then that would reduce Bolting Blade by 2, and then you'd get the resource from the Banneret. And so you could potentially have a 1 for 7 in Bolting Blade.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some options for sure.
I think anytime you can you can do something for additional value, like that's gonna see play. If you can find a way to make that work consistently, that's a great card to have. So yeah, this is one I'm stoked for. So the next part that we've got here are we want to go over some predictions, some guesses that we've got as we've been looking over some of these cards. For me, the big one that stands out, we've got all the different bannerets that I think are going to be really cool. But the ones that are sticking out to me are all of the different specializations. So like Starstruck, I think is first off some of the best art ever. But that's just going to be all of the unity. When this blocks, everybody gets something. I think this is pointing to a big push into UPF, which I'm excited for. We just did UPF at our local armory, and it was insane. It was a good time. Everybody built decks that didn't matter because we had a couple people that were playing Uric, and so it doesn't matter what you do because everybody's playing everybody's stuff. So, I think these are going to be fun. I think UPF is going to be something we'll see LSS really start to push into. And then the other thing that I'm hoping we start to see is some more like playing politics type cards. There's already some group hug type stuff in these. I think that we've already got some other group hug stuff in This Round's on Me and those types of cards. I think some good politic type cards where you're picking sides and picking enemies. I think that's going to make a game of UPF really exciting and break up lifelong friendships the way that a good card game ought to. So I'm looking forward to that. The other thing that I am kind of predicting, and I know Preston is really looking at like some very specific cards. I'm looking at this kind of big picture overall. I think this is the 10th set. They're making a big deal out of the new Prism that's coming out, the serialized cards that are coming out. There's what, 8 legendaries and 900 majestics in this set, so, give or take a couple.
It feels like
it feels like there's a ton of them, and I'm stoked for that because that means that the chances of opening some killer cards are going to be off the charts. You're going to open majestics like it's candy at a carnival, man. So I'm stoked for that. I love cracking packs, and this is going to be great. But what I'm really hoping for is that they take this as an opportunity to bring in some of the reprints that we've been missing. Press and I have talked about this a couple of times. Some of those really big staple cards, CNC, Art of War, Spring Tunic, things like that. I would love to either see reprints for those, or I think it would be really cool to do sort of a, I don't know if a toned down version of that is quite what I want to see, but so like we got Wreck Havoc for CNC, and that's like what'd you call it, a CNC at home, right?
Yeah.
And there's something really cool about that. I think for non-competitive play, for if you're really just playing with your friends at the table or whatever, Wreck Havoc still sucks to play against when it hits. But CNC it just fits such a perfect niche in the game. So I'd love to see something that was very similar to that. Same with Art of War. I think that fits a very specific niche. There isn't another card that does what Art of War does. I think it would be really good to see something once we start getting some of these generic cards revealed this weekend.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some of those come through. I'm sure we won't see another Spring Tunic, but something similar I think would be great. But the big thing is, like, for a new player getting in, it feels like there's a really high barrier for cost getting into this. I mean, you look at Spring Tunic, and right now I think it's about the lowest I've seen Spring Tunic in a while, and they're still like $180, $190 for one card. And so I'd love to see something that either reprinted that so we could get maybe new art or something that brought that down in price, or something that was really, really close, maybe not as good but similar, that would help alleviate some of that. Because if we could get a Spring Tunic Junior that was $80, I think that would make the thing a lot easier for people. If we get a CNC Junior that was $30, $20, something like that, I think that makes it a lot easier for people to go buy a playset and feel like they're playing really competitively, without feeling like they're paying for the ability to play competitively. We've played plenty of competitive games. We've gone to a number of tournaments. Neither of us are playing a playset of Art of Wars or CNCs. And you can still be competitive depending on the deck, but I think that's a barrier I know in a lot of the people that we've talked to. And so I'd love to see something like that coming up. What are your thoughts, Preston?
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I've sort of tossed around in my brain when thinking about this, even if it was where we didn't necessarily get generic reprints that were as powerful, but we got class-specific reprints that
Similar
were
to, like, what's the, and not Endless Arrow, what's the Ranger one?
Which one?
It's +2 for all your arrows.
Oh, Rain Razors.
Rain Razors, yeah. So something like that. I think that card is bonkers for the right deck, right? And so that covers some of the Art of War utility, right? So I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, something that's like, this is, Crown of Providence level value, but for warriors, or this is Tunic level value, but for this class. So even if even if each class had its own powerful thing, then like the Codex of Frailty for Rangers, right?
Yeah. I think so. I with kind of in that same vein, the pirate chest, the Trench of Sunken Treasure. At first, I really wrote that off until I built a Riptide deck, and there's a ton of value in that card. Like, you can really, not only do you get the resource, but being able to cycle a card out of your arsenal at instant speed, is fantastic. It's such a great card. I've definitely gotten more utility out of that in the games that I've played with Bolton than when I tried that with Spring Tunic. It just, being able to cycle cards out means it doesn't matter what I put in my arsenal. And so, like, with Riptide, where you're playing a card from hand and putting something in arsenal, like, you can do whatever. You can kind of play a little fast and loose with it, and then you've got this sort of gotcha to fix your mistakes. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it would be great to see a $30, type specific card, whether it's equipment or whatever, that's going to give us all that value. I think this would be a great set for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think Trench is a great example of something that is, that fills a similar role as far as, what Tunic does in granting that resource. It just does it in a way that's actually beneficial for that particular hero,
For sure.
and specific to that hero, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Well, as far as some things that I would like to sort of see or like predictions, I know that some of this might get a little, tinfoil hat here, but it's just stuff that I've seen in like lore articles and stuff that just has me really excited. And I certainly don't claim to be any lore expert or to say that I am the originator of any of these ideas. I've seen a lot of really solid ideas and predictions on Twitter, and Fab Twitter is great at putting on the tinfoil hat and coming up with some wild stuff. But one of the things that I want to point to, there was a lore article that was posted. I don't actually know the origin date of it, but I really like this section of the lore article of Morlock Hill. And if you haven't read it, or really any of the lore articles, I know that for myself, like, I definitely have not read as many as I would like to, and I really want to dive deeper into Flesh and Blood lore. But one of my predictions, or one of the things I'm really hoping to see, based on sort of where things are pointing, is a light Dorinthea. I would love to see Dorinthea come back with the ability to have light cards in her card pool. When you look at the Morlock Hill, story, there's a section towards the end where she like starts glowing, and her hair shimmering with a holy radiance, and her eyes are crackling and bright. And then she sticks out her hand and just straight up calls Dawnblade to her like a Jedi. And so, like, sure, maybe I'm reading into that too much, but I think it'd be incredible. I'd love to see a light Dorinthea.
And I think this would be the set for it. This is where you want to see something really big happening in this, like, big trilogy of war, right?
And listen, LSS, worst case scenario, I know that this is part 2 in a 3-part trilogy for, Dusk Till Dawn. As long as it's in the third set, I'll be all right. But, like, really, there should be a light Dorinthea. It would be fantastic. Something that, it's this article here. Scroll to the bottom. So the article that was posted recently, the Detrospective article, there was a section in it that had me sort of thinking about, like, what we might see in Dusk Till Dawn for Vincett. At the bottom of the article, it actually says Vincett Iron Maiden, and it's formatted like an adult hero name. And so, I mean, this is pretty obvious that should be the name on Vincett's adult card, Vincett Iron Maiden. And just thinking about the armory poster that looked like it potentially has her adult form on it, and just judging by, like, there's these crazy armor shells surrounding her, and there's, like, runes all over them. And when you think about the idea of an Iron Maiden, like, it's, this big, solid, impenetrable thing on the outside. But then on the inside is the thing that's hurting the person who gets put into the Iron Maiden. So it just sort of had me thinking, I'm wondering if we're not going to get some sort of, and I know this is a vague guess, but I'm wondering if we're going to get some sort of equipment or card or something that embraces the idea of that Iron Maiden, where there's going to be some sort of, some sort of protection or some sort of reimbursement for the life loss that she has in her hero ability. So I think there's going to be more stuff that we're going to see that's going to play on that, where, you're not going to feel like when you play Vincett, you're struggling to balance any sort of blood debt stuff that you get from shadow cards you have in your deck, that you have to balance that while also trying to lose life to utilize her ability well. So I just think that there's going to be something that's going to play on that Iron Maiden name and that theme, to sort of either protect or gain life back, or there's going to be something there to sort of bolster that life loss. And like I said, I know it's a vague guess, but it just had me thinking about, like, what could be possible with Vincett. And I think that if done right, it could have some really fun and cool, well thought out flavor for that rune blade. And then this sort of last prediction, last guess that I have for this set. This also isn't like an earth shattering prediction or anything like that. But I really do think that, and I'll pull up some examples here. I think that Bologna, the Archangel of War, could potentially be played in Bolton, and what that means about having allies in non-illusionist decks, which, there's things like the demon allies like Blasphemeth and what was the other one?
Usurp?
Yeah. Oh, it's right there.
And then in that article, there's a third one that's mentioned, the Soul.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's
So
like
we're gonna see
Nazareth
more
or
of those,
something.
yeah.
It's like Nazareth, the Soul Harvester. No, that's That's gonna bother me now. I'm gonna have to try and find that.
Soul Harrower. It's down at the bottom.
Oh yeah. Nazareth, the Soul Harrower. That's super cool.
Yeah.
So obviously, we've seen some non-illusionist allies in the past. And I think that's just going to mean that Bologna is going to be another one. But we're going to get to experiment with allies in Ranger. And like you can see here, for an example, like Soraya clearly says it's an illusionist ally. And then like Asvali up here, that's a draconic illusionist ally. So I think that the lack of those additional subtypes in this line here on the card, I think we're potentially going to be able to play Bologna in Bolton and potentially light Dorinthea. So I think it's really cool. I'm really excited to see what that does for like play style, what that does for decks, and the possibilities. I think it really opens up some cool things. And then kind of we're at the point here where we can start kind of wrapping up, and I could talk about Dusk Till Dawn stuff all the time. If you haven't yet, definitely check out the lore recap. There's a lot of really fun stuff in there, and I've started to read some of the stuff, but I know that I just need to keep reading, keep going through it, because
I feel like it's the sort of thing where I could just sit like on my porch for hours and just read and read and read. There's so much stuff in there.
Absolutely.
For heroes, for all of the different settings, all of that. So there's a ton of really cool stuff in there.
So definitely check that out. But I think we'll wrap it up here and just kind of talk about wish list stuff. I mean, Dusk Till Dawn, it's the 10th set for Flesh and Blood. I think there's some really cool things coming, and I think it's going to be, even just a couple of years in, I think it's going to be a love letter to, the Flesh and Blood fan base, and it's going to provide a lot of really cool things. And so as far as for me, when I started playing Flesh and Blood, I really did not like playing Warriors. In fact, the first time I played my Bolton Blitz deck when we were learning the game, I looked at Tony and said, Tony, this is terrible. Yeah. I'm going to go back to playing Lexi, because Lexi was the other Blitz deck that I had bought when we started learning. And then just last week, I ordered a giant stack of Bolton stuff because I really enjoy playing Warriors now. So side note, play heroes that you... Play all the heroes. Try them all. Hop on Talishar. Try them all. You never know what you're going to enjoy.
That was a huge thing for me when we got through the RTN, and I did so poorly at the RTN with a deck that I was so excited for. I think I needed to be able to step away from Ninja, which feels dirty to say, but I needed something different, right? To sort of play around. So I drafted Oldhim. At one of our armories, I built that Riptide deck, and that thing has been an absolute blast. I feel like that's the perfect mix of like turtle and aggression. I've had a lot of fun with that deck. It's fun Blitz, it's fun CC. Yeah, it's a good time. Unless you're playing UPF, and then it's kind of lame to play. You lose all of your fun bits, and everyone else gets.
If you're playing UPF with Yorick, that is.
Yeah,
absolutely. And so that's just a brief side note. If you take anything away from this video, just try new stuff. Don't get stuck in one hero. Obviously, pick what you're good at and, learn it and be competitive and learn it well, but don't be afraid to try other things. So as far as wish list, some things that I really want, and the reason I started talking about Warriors and we got sidetracked there. Obviously, number one, I want to light Dorinthea. I think that there's so much flavor in the light cards, and how the light section of the Flesh and Blood world fits into lore and storytelling. I just want to be able to merge some of the fun stuff from Bolton and some of the really solid Dawnblade Warrior stuff from Dorinthea. So I want to light Dorinthea.
I think it fits so much of Dorinthea's like lore and backstory as well. And then I was looking through one of the articles. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick here because I thought it was really neat. I don't know. You've been talking about Light Dorinthea for ages. Oh, not ages. Just like for a while here. Let me see if I pull up the right one. I don't know that I pulled up the right article or not. Let me go. Is this the one that has? No, this is specific to. I feel like I'm floundering a little bit here, but it was the. Maybe it was the Dusk Till Dawn, and it just went over.
Oh, in the product page.
No, there was one that talked about like the Solana, and like there's different levels of like warrior. Now I can't remember what the name of the article was. I'll find it and then I'll feel like a goof for having missed it, but that's okay. It'll be alright. Oh no, here it is, Solana. So I was kind of reading through this in part because I wanted to prove Preston wrong, and I think that what happened is I'm more on his side. So the Hand of Soul down here. So like the Inquisitor and the Templars, I think it makes sense to see Dorinthea sort of grow into this new thing, and we've never seen like to be able to introduce a new class as a Templar or an Inquisitor that has this light side to it and gets to build on that. I think that would be a lot of fun. And so I don't know. I was all kind of so on it until I read that, and I was like, okay, this totally makes sense, and it will be a lot of fun. I love when they've brought in new characters and new classes. Like getting to see how they've built Assassin has been an absolute blast. Seeing the way that they've grown each of the hero classes or brought in the different talents has been super fun for me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. And I think it just makes sense for her to progress. And it'd be really cool because I understand that at some point, like for game design, we can't have 10,000 classes.
Sure.
So even if there were like, Inquisitor, for example, even if the Light Warrior sort of fit what they would do if there was a separate Inquisitor class, and so whatever sort of like marrying of words needs to happen.
Yeah.
But I think Light Dorinthea would be a ton of fun. I think one of the other big things I'm really hoping for, and I kind of touched on this a little bit at the beginning, but I just hope that there's a more efficient way to charge Bolt'n Soul. I think that I sort of have... I took too long to jump on the Bolt'n bandwagon, but I've really enjoyed playing him over the last couple of weeks. Yeah. And I think that if we could just have a more efficient soul charging and sort of remove some of that card disadvantage that happens for him, then I think that there's room for Bolt'n to absolutely perform well competitively.
Yeah, it sort of felt like when we were playing the other day, it very much felt like you were waiting for that one really good turn, and everything up to that point was really clunky and almost really slow until you worked through enough of your deck to get your cards lined up, and then once you did that and you were able to go boomy, it was that was a lot of fun. Yeah, and that could be also because I'm a new Bolt'n player and I'm terrible at it, but I mean, it was you have to be terrible. We're just terrible. Yeah, it was an absolute blast until he gave me 2 frailty traps. Yeah. Or 2 frailty tokens in the middle of playing, so my Luminas were not Boomina anymore. But that's something I'm wishing for. I really love to see. I love warriors. In Blitz, I love playing Kasaya. So just in general, I want to see warrior support. But I think that more efficient soul charging. And then lastly, this was just something that I kind of noticed in the July Armory kit. Let me swap you over there real quick. There you go. You got it. And lastly, this is something that I noticed just with the July Armory kit. First of all, I love this playmat. If I don't acquire it by the end of July, then hit us up on Twitter and I will figure out some sort of deal to make with you because I need this playmat.
being a Sisters of Battle player in Warhammer, this is just like this is just an aesthetic that I love in art design, and so like I need this playmat. But it specifically says Aegis Archangel of Protection, and we already know that like the Spellbane Aegis tokens exist, and so this is fun to just see a name utilizing this and have it, actually be an Archangel. So I'm really excited to see what, like how she fits into the game and where she fits into the game. So I don't know that there was anything super wish listy with this one. I mean, I wish for the playmat, but
Right.
also, I'm really excited to just see what this does. I think it'll be cool. Being an Archangel of Protection, I'm really excited to see how that plays out. So I'm hoping that that's when we talk about warrior support, much like Bologna. I'm hoping that that's something that can be played, just with a warrior, a light warrior, Dorinthea. And so I'm just excited to see what that does. So my wish is that it's awesome, and my wish is that I get that playmat. And there we go. It's kind of a cheeky last answer, but it's a dope playmat.
It's a really cool playmat for sure. I've got really two things that I'm hoping for. Two things specifically that I want here as a supplemental set that's good for all heroes. I'm looking forward to more ninja stuff. I know that we kind of got spoiled. We got some really cool stuff, especially Katsu in Outsiders. But
you need more.
I need more. I'm greedy, and the thing that gets me, right, and maybe this is coming in a later set, but the whole flick knives thing, like, very heavily is geared towards assassins, and so I want to see some ninja daggers that have on hit effects, because like,
you want to hear
about that. I want a Katsu lock, or Kadachi lock somebody, and they're not just losing life, they lose resources or something like that, or things cost more, something like that. That's what I'm looking forward to, is just more ninja shenanigans. We've got the skirmish coming up next month.
Yep.
Here in just a few weeks in Spokane, and so I'm excited to bust Benji out. We're playing Blitz, and I'm getting ready. I'm stoked to get tuned back up on Benji and jump back into the Ninja Ring, because it's such a jam. I love it so much. So I'm really excited for. I'm really looking forward to some good support there. The other thing that I'm really hoping for is some sort of Kano support that makes it a little bit more consistent. Because I feel like Kano, if you're on, and it's so good. And if they've got AB3, you're sort of like, well, this is going to be a slog, and I'll be lucky to see how it ends, right? And so, and that's not across the board always, but it can feel very fragile when you're playing. It's very glass cannon-y, where when it's on, it's so good, and you're just like, fire all over the place. And then if you get tripped up at all, you fall flat on your face so hard. So I'm hoping for something that comes in with Kano that helps maybe remove some AB, or I don't know that you need a more powerful combo, because the combo that's there for Kano is kind of insane already. But maybe a new weapon or something like that's going to help the glass part of the glass cannon be a little bit less fragile. So those are my two big hopes for Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, and we certainly appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. We're really excited for Dusk Till Dawn. If you have any comments about any of our guesses, our wish list, or what do you want to see, what are you hoping to get from this set, definitely go ahead and leave a comment on YouTube, King's Table Games on Twitter. Twitter is a great place to sort of interact with the Flesh and Blood community. So, don't ever be afraid to hit us up on there and have a conversation with us about some Flesh and Blood. We're going to spend the weekend sort of watching all the spoilers come in. We're really excited. Excellent work to all the content creators out there that got a spoiler. It's a really big deal, and it's something that you should absolutely be proud of.
Yeah.
So we'll be watching all your stuff this weekend, and we look forward to probably Monday next week. We'll come back and chat about what we've seen over the weekend. And we look forward to
see how far off we were on our predictions.
Yeah, exactly. Or when we actually get light Dorinthea. So yeah, that's it for us in this video. We look forward to chatting with you soon and talking about all the things that were revealed over Dusk Till Dawn spoiler weekend. Be sure to start checking up on your local pre-releases. Make sure you get signed up in time if your store has player caps. And we look forward to experiencing this set with you. So thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, hit us up on Twitter, and as always, have a great evening, day, night, morning, whenever you're watching this. And we look forward to chatting Flesh and Blood with you soon.